Morning, everybody. It is 8:10 a.m. April 30th. Welcome to my channel. FOMC was pretty uneventful. Market closed pretty much flat from the previous day. Bunch of up and down. We had Ford, a Mag 7 report earnings. Google and Amazon are up. Microsoft was up and down, but it's down. Meta, a lot of capex spending. Markets don't like that, and they are down almost 9%, over 9%. Okay. So Qualcomm also reported they are up 9.33. They were up way more than that later in the day. So that's what's going on this morning. Now crude is holding at like $105 a barrel right now. It's pulling back a little bit. Yesterday it went up to like 108 or 109 yesterday. Pretty crazy. I mean, this market never ceases to amaze. So now today at 8:30, we do have core PCE, GDP, okay, 30-year mortgage at noon, Chicago PMI 945. We still have Apple earnings today after the close, okay, after the close. Yesterday, man, I could show you here. Usually I don't really like FOMCs, but yesterday was pretty nice with the volatility. And all I have to say is really the internals when we were rising up like this, right? I had a couple shorts that I actually had excursion on. Like I was short up in here and I got that expecting to hit in futures the 71.47 level that I said was begging to get broken, which eventually did. And really the story was the ticks. And when you have not strong internals and you're moving up, and it was kind of weird. I haven't seen internals really perform like that per se because equal weight was dropping. Market cap wasn't even strong. But Amazon and Google at the time were out of control. They were ripping. Okay. And I was like, oh my God, what a divergence. Now, let me show you the ticks. Okay. Let me show you those ticks. Now, if I zoom out and I want to show you early on. So let's go to early on. When you get ticks, let's go early on here. In the morning, it was pretty much red. Let's I'm trying to go back to let's go back to Wednesday. Just trying to give you the accurate what I saw yesterday. And like when ticks are red this much, see this is right here. That's the open, and they were just painting red, 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 red all the way until 10 something. Markets usually are going to go down. This is the NYSE ticks, and the Nasdaq ticks were the same. And it was like, whoa, okay, these ticks are not even green at all. And I was like, wow, this is such a divergence. But the market needed to test some type of level. So if we just go to the SPY, I don't know what just what is it? 8:15. I don't know what the market's like in something right now. So anyway, when this like went through the close, now futures close was a little different. That was kind of like it hit a peak right up here on an hourly chart. It kind of broke some key levels. Let's show you on the hourly chart real quick. Okay, This was about yesterday, right here. See, right here, the ES broke 2 previous hours highs, and that was what gave it the sweep, basically, to push lower. As well as see these equal highs here, right here in the Qs, NASDAQ futures. It needed that right there to then go back down, right? And then those equal lows right here were tagged. I said those were begging to get broke. They did. Remember, I also said yesterday the key level was the most traded price of the previous day. Look at that support. I'm sorry. Look at that in here. Now, once FOMC started, which is around here, but that was really supportive until then, right? And then all bets are off once FOMC hits. So needless to say, I had a nice short, and I actually went a little heavier than I normally do, and it paid off. I almost added a third contract because I had 2 contracts, ES minis. So I almost added it. It would even been a bigger. Obviously, it would have been triple what I got. But that is 6 point, almost a 7R on that. Definitely a great trade, holding to my edge with those internals. And then they ripped lower. So can't complain about that. Okay, I just want to fill you in on that. All right. Now, let's get into it. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steve Gonzalez. I use market profile and buying profile to find structure in markets along supply and demand. Gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That is my edge. That's how I come up with game plans. Now, once that market opens, I use my market internals. Okay, it tells me what's going on under the hood off the open. Okay, also use little anchor view ops. I use my weekly expected move indicator for free. You can get on my Discord, as well as the gamma flip points. You can get on my Discord. Little ICT smart money, all wrapped into my own system. Okay, this is my own. It's not anybody else's. Okay, and that's what I do. All right. Now, hopefully you join me every morning. Subscribe, set that alert. Subscribe, set that alert. I do this every morning. Give you the market story, the economic calendar, the news, the leaders and the laggards, technical analysis, and then at the end of my stream, I give you long and short trade scenarios. Okay. Now, yesterday, I'm hitting my pre-market scenarios again this week. The de-risk long was there. And I was watching it from a distance. See, I had that big short. So I was pretty much done for the day, but I was like, that's a long right there. That's a de-risk long. And boop, 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 boop. What do you know? People de-risked before FOMC. Okay. Now, if you want that in-depth coverage and see my pre-market scenarios, you're going to join my Discord, Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. Okay. Okay, so just a quick preview of that. So right after my stream, my Discord, right? Right after my stream, right here, okay, I'll give you my outlook and short and long scenarios, right? And there was the FOMC de-risk long number 1 that played out. Okay, played right out. Get that every morning, right after this is over. Okay. You also get my gamma levels, my flip points, weekly expected move every Monday. You get a daily receipt, time stamped, okay, of what I'm seeing in the markets, where I'm leaning. Did I take a trade? Then an end of the day recap with my trades. And then every week you get right here my weekly performance based on how many scenarios I hit, right? My trades, and then a performance with my R multiple. Okay. All right. So come join me. I usually go live every day around 9:45. All right. Hopefully you join me. Now, let's Let's get into futures watch list. Who's leading the pack today? That is silver. Now, I'm not sure what news just came out. We'll get into it. We'll see. We'll see what popped the markets back up. Okay. Silver almost up 3%. Gold's up 1.89. Ethereum up 1.52. Bitcoin up 1%. The Dow is up 0.75. Nasdaq's up 0.70. ES up over 0.5%. 30-year bonds are being bought. Should send yields a little lower. Russell up 0.22. 30-year bonds being bought. 10-year yield is down 0.5%. Dollar is down 0.5%. Crude is down 2%. So maybe it's something to do with the Middle East. Crude being down 2%. VIX is down 5.5%. Before we do that, I'm going to look to see if there was some news. Give me 1 second here. Okay, let's see. At 8:16, but Bank of England's Governor Bailey, some scenarios avoid rate hikes, others require them. So Governor Bailey's been talking. I don't know if that really was it. Let me check one more spot, and then we'll just move on. I just wanted to see. Maybe I missed something. Let's see. I don't. Only thing I'm seeing here, right here, is Iran's Pezeshkian to Japan's Takeichi Gulf insecurity caused by U.S. and Israel. American piracy against Iranian vessels must be halted and condemned. And don't know why that was a little push-up yet. Maybe, I don't know. Okay. Back to futures watch list. Okay, moving on to the Mag 7 Plus. All right. Google beats all around, up 7.88%. Eli Lilly reported earnings as well, up 6%. Amazon also had decent earnings, up 3.60%. Broadcom up 2.11. AMD up 1.81. Now AMD is getting bought up after that dip. Okay. Coinbase up 0.86. Nvidia's up 0.82. Apple reports earnings after the close, up 0.5%. Laggards. Netflix down 0.71. Microsoft down 1.31. They were up. At one point they were down, they were up, they were down, they were up. So they're down slightly today. Meta is your laggard, down 9%. Down 9%. That CapEx spending, they don't like it. The market doesn't like it, even though they had some beats. All right. Top sectors. Qualcomm. I'm an owner of Qualcomm, and I was almost thinking of taking that off. I should have probably added at 120s, but I didn't because earnings were coming, and it's up almost 10%. All right, Qualcomm's almost 10%. They actually missed some numbers, but like their guidance, I think, with automotives and stuff like that helped them out. Caterpillar up 6.5%. NEM, the largest gold mining stock, up 2.36. GE Vernova up 1%. Palantir up 0.75. Now let's see here. Who's down 0.5%? PepsiCo down 0.5%. Costco down over 0.5%. Exxon and Chevron are down 0.59 and 0.70. And Salesforce is your laggard, down over 1%. Let's go to the little bit of the granular list here. Let's see who else is up. Carvana is up 8.68. Baxter is up 6.9. Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines up 5.90%. Chipotle is up almost 5%. Western Digital up 4.5%. Marimani, Bitcoin related, up 3.82. Iris Energy up 3.34. Okay, who's lagging today? That is, I think it's Wayfair. W is Wayfair, I believe, down 6.95%. I believe they put earnings. Ford, I believe they put earnings down 4.74%. MasterCard down 2.3%. ConocoPhillips down 2%. That's it there. All right, moving on. Sectors. Semis are leading the pack today. That would tell you it's a risk-on market, but who knows when the market opens. And you got discretionary, followed that up, but that's your Amazon, your Tesla, your Home Depot, up 1.10. Healthcare is up 1%, helped by Eli Lilly. Technology is up at over 0.5%. Industrials up 0.47. That's from Caterpillar. Who's lagging? Real estate down 0.30, financials down almost 0.5%, and energy down almost 1%. Moving on, folks. We're going to go to the economic calendar. We do have data coming out at 8:30. Okay, let's see if that moves markets. Here is the economic calendar and the market news. So, let's look at core PCE year over year. That's the one I care about. That's the one the Fed cares about. So, consensus is 3.2, previous 3. So, we're expected to go up 0.20. Okay, let's look at the headline without core. Consensus 3.5, previous 2. Wow, they're expecting it to go up 0.7. Okay, now there's GDP in here. We got Chicago PMI at 945. So be careful, 945, Chicago PMI. All right. Now, I'm going to be doing analysis. If we hear some large orders hitting the tape, we'll check it out. All right. Trump does have. Let's look at Trump's schedule today. He does have a phone interview. It says closed press. 11:30 a.m. phone interview. That's not really very detailed. Okay. So we'll have to see. Let's see if they got a roundup for me here. Doesn't look like they do. No, I'm not going to go into any further than that. Let's look at the earnings calendar. So, after the close yesterday, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Alphabet, Ford, Qualcomm, Chipotle, right? KLAC. And then before the open, ConocoPhillips, Caterpillar, Valero, Wayfair, Eli Lilly, MasterCard, Altria, Merck, Bristol Myers Squibb, Cigna. Right? After the close today, Apple, SanDisk has been a monster this year. Western Digital, okay, 2 hard drive companies, I believe. Reddit, Rivian, Riot, AMZN, 4 Solar, and then tomorrow morning, Chevron, Exxon, Colgate-Palmolive, Moderna, Estee Lauder, Dominion Energy. Okay, let's go back to news. Okay, here we go. Google Cloud pulls ahead as big tech's AI bet swells to $700 billion. Microsoft expects strong cloud business growth, plans record capital spending. That's probably why they don't like that's down. Record capital spending. Meta shares fall on concerns over AI spending. That's what I talked about earlier. Car makers bank on $2.3 billion in future tariff refunds, risking Trump's ire. Buffett has stepped aside. Warren Buffett has stepped aside. Berkshire Hathaway is now Greg Abel's show. Interesting. Is Berkshire Hathaway down because of that? Not really. Let's see here. U.S. stock index futures were mixed as investors weighed strong tech earnings against renewed inflation worries sparked by oil prices hitting their highest in over 4 years. Investors will await key economic indicators later in the day, including PCE inflation data and first quarter advanced GDP estimate. Additionally, Apple is due to report second quarter earnings after the market close. We already know this. Now, one thing about the dollar eased against again after Japanese officials sent the firm signals about possible intervention, with markets still jittery over escalating tensions in the Middle East. Okay? Let's see Qualcomm. The company shares jumped before the bell as investors latched on to the chief executive's optimism about recovery in its smartphone business and data center opportunities, eclipsing a weak third quarter forecast. CEO Cristiano Amon, in an interview with Reuters on Wednesday, said the company was confident that the smartphone market will start to rebound after its fiscal third quarter. Qualcomm, one of the world's largest suppliers of smartphone chips, has increasingly sought to reduce its dependence on the cyclical handset market by expanding into high-growth segments such as data center processors and autonomous vehicle chips. And let's look at the Alphabet. JP Morgan raised target price to 460 from 395. Amazon, JP Morgan raised the target price to 330 from 280. Humana, Jeffrey Rose take price to 280, 290 from 235. I wonder if that's helping out United Healthcare today. Is it? Not really. Meta, Piper. So Meta's got a tight price target cut to 800 from 880. Microsoft cuts target price 545. From 600. It says citing stable but slower Azure growth versus hyperscaler peers Amazon and Google. Okay. All right, the news dropped. Let's just look at it. What do we got here? What do we got here? All right, let's look at the one that I care about the most and the Fed cares about the most. Core PC year over year. Oh, look at that. In line. 3.2 expected, 3.2 you got. PCE headline. 3.5 expected. Wow, 3.5 is what we got. In line. In line. Okay. And GDP, I don't really pay attention to that as much. Initial jobs claims are in there as well. Ooh, you got more expected the same as previous, but you got less jobless claims. So okay, that's all we're gonna go over. I don't see much in the markets. Okay, let's real quick. Let's just look at this. Ooh, all right. There's a bunch of red here. Okay. Okay, so the GDP missed a little bit. Forecast 2.3, actual 2. Okay. That's what's going on there. I would go to breadth, but FOMC was an uneventful mess. Okay. So we're going to. Normally I would do market internals. I already did it, but it's kind of like after the open, it's kind of not that important now. I already went over it. So we're going to go right into daily charts now. Dailies. Let's do it. Let's do it. Uneventful. Market closed flat, basically. Let's see. All right. So let's look what we did. Kind of another indecisive candle, right? So you closed here by the previous close. It was basically flat, meant nothing. Still didn't hit the 90 MA daily. So you ever was going to hit that by time or by price. Okay. In futures, you did hit it. And it was really by time, not by price. Okay. We're still negative on the week because that's last week's close. Where are we now? 715. So we're all the way up here now, gapping up. Okay. So we're gapping up right now. 715 above last week's highs. All right, above last week's highs. All right, let's look at futures. Futures. All right, look at that friggin' futures. Sideways, 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 sideways. Woof. Not going anywhere, right? But look here, okay? This is last week's highs. We're right above last week's highs right now. Okay? Starting kind of a new balance area. So if I was going to say a new balance area started, it's probably like in here. Okay? It's a little balance area from like the 71.32s to about the 72.10s. Okay? That's the new balance area. Okay? Let's see what we do today. Big balance area overall. Purple. All right. Really not much to say there, right? New balance area. All right. Overall, a big balance area. Market's not doing anything. Okay. Qs. That's an ugly chart. Okay. That is a balance area, but it's so ugly. All right. You had a little bit of a better day. Right. Than the SPY did. Doji. Then you actually did close positive. Now you are negative on the week, but now obviously, where are we now? 665.70s. We're gapping up. We're at actually all-time highs. We made all-time highs in the overnights. Okay. Above last week's highs. There's Friday's close. So If we open that way and close above there, we will have new weekly all-time highs and we'll be positive on the week. 9 EMA daily, still not touched. Futures. All right, so big different story here, right? This is kind of trending up. Yes, there is actually a little balance area here. So it does have a little bit of a balance area right here. It's not as, it's kind of more, a little more trending up. And you can even see the 9 EMA daily, right? Never been touched, right? Let's just get rid of this right now. Okay. All-time highs has been made in the overnights. Remember what I say about that? Overnight all-time highs are not secure. Usually you make them in regular trading hours. Okay, so we're over last week's highs right now. Okay, you could just see though, it's been kind of ripping. A lot of money's been going into tech, into semis in particular. Okay, let's just look at that semiconductors. Now, semis, meteoric rise, you can see it, right? And then it's kind of got like, almost like a diamond pattern. We dropped, didn't even test the 9 EMA daily. But where is it now? 505s. You're all the way back up here again. So it's consolidating kind of, right? Not the prettiest of charts. Okay, big seller just came in. Whoa, big wick just happened in the market. Big wick. Okay, big wick. Big aggressive sellers came in at the 7200s in the futures. Okay, so that's semis, right? Check out that RSP because it still was not a good day for RSP. That's the equal weighted. Okay, that's the equal weight. Look, we're just moving down. Does that look like the QQQ? No. Does that look like the SPY? No. That means that our overall market is trending lower, while the other markets are not. Now remember, SPY and QQQ are market cap weighted. So the big boys move markets. In the equal weight, nothing's a big boy. It's just everything's equal. And it gives you good breadth, right? So let's look at the breadth. Let's smell that breadth of the market. This is your percentage of stocks over the 50-day moving average. And where are we at, folks? 49%. Middling. Kind of looks like the RSP, right? So overall, this market is not like powering up. But remember, where tech goes is where the market goes. Okay? Where tech goes is where the market goes. It's very hard for the market to go against the tech. 33% market cap weighting. Like I said, where tech goes, the market goes. All right. Now, let's move on. We're going to go to hourlies. Come on, hourlies. And what I like now is we finally got some movement in the markets. You'll see what I'm talking about here. I'm liking the price action, what we've gotten. Okay, because what we have is inefficiency. Inefficiency is what I like to see. Okay. Here's your 1 hour charts. Let me get my marker out. And we'll get into it. Not sure if Rosita's on the stream here because she's trying to be a futures trader, but I'll believe it when I see it. All right, so this is exactly what I was talking about. And you can see it on the 1 hour, right? What was I just saying, right? On the dailies, we had a balance area here. And now look, we're making another one, right? We're making another one. Now, the 7160s, remember that? Good old most traded price of the week happened to be yesterday's most traded price. Okay. Most traded price of the week. Around the 71.95s. And now what are we playing with? Last week's highs. Very liquid level. Okay, very liquid level. Now look at this 4 hour candle right there. Pretty bullish. Okay, pretty bullish. There's our daily. Pretty bullish. Now, what do I mean by the inefficiencies? Right? Look at how this market's been moving lately. Very labored. Right? Very labored. Little moves up, and then just a lot of traffic. And then, of course, FOMC came up and pushed up. And then look at that move. Boom, boom, boom. And then guess what? That opens it up for the market to go boom, 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 boom. Okay? Markets usually move symmetrically. Okay, so what could happen here is if we just swept this, right, and we close here, this opens up for a move back down. Okay, because now we have the structure that we can move down. It's not looking like this, right? Like this. This is the way market's been moving. I mean, this is a big move, but it's just been laboring, right? This is like fast move up, fast move down, could go a fast move down. Okay? Now, let's get a visual. Let's put a profile. I'm going to do two profiles. One from over here. This will give us a very nice look of the whole trading profile. Now look at that. Now this is where you see why I have this like turquoise box, right? That was the most traded price of yesterday, the most traded price of the month. Well, look at all that volume. That's the value area in between these green lines. Over from this time. That time started at about, let's see what date that was. That date is 4/17. That's where I have this profile started from. 4/17. Okay? So you can just see the large amount of volume. Now this happens to be the last 2 months most traded price, 71.62s. So 71.60s is actually the most traded price of the month and the most traded price of the last 2 months. It's a very powerful price. Okay? Now you see the other high volume node here, right here. You can see it. Guess what? That's the most traded price of the week. Now, we can make this a little zoom in to the more recent price action. Let's move it up to here. This is our profile again, so it still shows high volume node right here, high volume node right here. All right, a low volume node at the 7181s. So 7181s is like a pivot level that the market keeps finding resistance, support, resistance, right? And now, notice how it moves through this low volume area because it's low volume, and how it stops in high volume areas. That's why the profile is a beautiful thing. Okay, so that is a nice wick. That is a very, very nice wick. Okay, I actually took out this supply zone. Okay, and we have like equal highs here. Let me get rid of one of these. I don't need that one. Okay, equal high that it just swept. Woo. We get a close around here. Boy, this is come right back down. Okay. Now, does this blow out this dimension? Oh, look at those orders coming in. Creeple really hitting that bid at the 7200s psychological level. I could just show you what I'm talking about here in my time and sales and footprint. Just look at the let's see here. Right here in the time and sales, see those big block orders? All the 72 around 7200s. Those are sellers. 100 lots. 100 lots. Okay, that's what you hear when you get an alert. I have a 100 lot block alert set that tell me big orders are hitting the tape. Okay. All right. Let's look at the Nasdaq. Now Nasdaq hit all-time highs. Okay. Hit all-time highs. All right. Now, get rid of that supply. Broke that. Okay. Now, the levels in the Nasdaq, the most traded price of the month is still down here at the 26730s. The most traded price of the week is 274s. Okay. Now, we did make all-time highs up here early on in the overnight session. That was probably because Microsoft was up at one point, Google was up, Amazon was up, but the only laggard was Meta. It ripped it up, and then it took it right back. And then we're going back up. And we almost hit this supply zone, right? So let's get a visual. We are going to move from this point in time. Boom. Okay. There's that most traded price of the week, right? 274s, let's call it. Big, a lot of volume there, high volume though. You got another one here at yesterday's most traded price, 27224s, right? A lot of high. This is really ugly profile. Really ugly. Look at the high volume node here for the month. Now remember, this is the rolling month. So I have to go back like 30 days from now to really show you that this is the most traded price of the month. But I could tell you one thing, this is probably going to start to take it over, the 274s. Now that's pretty bullish. You're above that. All right, let's go into more recent. Let's go into right here. And let's see what the profile looks like. Boop. So double distribution profile. You can see most traded price right there of the week, 274s. You have another one at yesterday's most traded price at 27220s. So double distribution profile with a little low volume node here, 27315s. Okay, so we're right now at a little above value area high and last week's high, which is right there. That is 27462. That is last week's highs. We're above that. All-time highs is all the way up here. Okay, around the 27623s. Okay. Now, like I said, generally overnight highs is not our all-time highs in futures. It's not how it works. It really is not how it works. Now, sometimes I've seen it where usually today's session should take it out, but sometimes it takes a day or two. I've seen it actually take one time longer than that, and actually the market had to come back up and touch it. So, but generally it happens. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. Okay, I really don't. Now, here's a tail right here. Right here, I want you to notice something, the difference between the Nasdaq and ES. Notice this little like equal high here that we just ripped, right? This looks more bullish to me. All right. Now, again, this is where these markets are divergent because yesterday, too, NASDAQ was like pushing, and the ES was like, hey, dude, you're just carrying me like a piano on my back going up, right? So let's real quick look at this right now in the tail of the two markets, right? This above the most traded price of the week, which this is as well, but you're in heavy supply here in the ES, getting a wick, right? You just came up. This looks stronger, right? Well, semis are up 1%. Okay. So, again, the Nasdaq just looks strong. Now, we did come into supply here. We didn't come into it yet, but so we have to see. Now, look at the inefficiency. Let's go back to the Nasdaq. Okay, this is important. So, let's get rid of this profile. Hope everybody understands that profile, if anybody's even watching. Who knows? But look at that move down. Zoom, right? Took away that move, right? And then zoom back up, and you basically cleared the inefficiency. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. This is another move. Now, what I could see possibly happening is maybe you retest this 274s to go back up and hit it. If you drop under the 274s, you could find yourself going back to the 271s. I don't know. Okay? Only call it as I see it. Now that is your hourly charts. Yeah, we're gapping up in both. So we're gapping up. Okay? Now we're going to move on to the market profile, bond profile. Let's take a look at it. And this is your market profile, volume profile. Now, the only thing I am seeing on this chart is price is at the 7200s at last week's highs. We are gapping up. Okay, now this is, if you're going to look at it in this way, remember the black is the regular time trading hours. The shaded area, the lighter shaded area, is the overnight session. Now that's a bullish engulfing session. You're engulfing the RTH session. Okay, let's get into scenarios for the ES long and short trade scenarios here. And what we're going to do, break out the overnight session. Remember, it's only 30-minute bars. Okay, 30-minute bars. Now we are in supply, kind of at a top of a balance. Okay, now yesterday I told you, oh, those 71, 47s, the 45s, they are begging to get broken, and yes, they did make that move. And then there was a big demand zone here at the 71.36 support that got broken, and we went back up. Okay, so crude is down today, but not down a ton. So what I'm looking at here is we are gapping up. So the first thing we need to do is gap fill 71.90s. Lines up with the most traded price of the week. Okay. Now next we have to talk about, let's see where this is. 71.60s is your 50% retracement of yesterday's session. Lines up with the most traded price of the month and the most traded price of the last 2 months. All right, but the end of the day, we're at balance highs. Okay, balance highs, and more times than not, the market's going to make it look like it's going to go up forever. And then in a balance market, in a blink of an eye, we're falling. So just be aware of that. It's not easy to trade it. Okay, so let's get into it. I am going to start with shorts. We are in supply, folks. And whenever you see a thicker bordered supply zone and then the lighter bordered, it's kind of like a double supply here. Now that makes sense because this is over last week's highs. You already have exuberance from the other side of balance that really pushed our markets back up into supply. Now, balance rules. Balance area lows. Balance area highs. Okay? In balance, you want to be a seller at the top of the balance. You want to be a buyer at the bottom of the balance. We stay in balance until we're not in balance anymore, right? But most times, like now, crude that's been on a rise, there's a lot of indecisiveness in our markets. And what happens is longs, right, from the bottom of balance will take profits at the top of the balance. And what they become is sellers and then new sellers come in and push the markets back down. And the process repeats over and over again. So, with that being said, what am I going to look for? Okay, right now, as we speak, our all-time high is in an overnight session. It's 7223. It's an overnight high. So, that actually probably not secure, but we're in balance. So, what am I going to look for? Two things. If we come up here, sweep the overnight highs, and come right back into range. Okay? Preferably under the 7200s, right? All right, and then maybe we push up, hit with selling. You get that lower high, and you really push under that most traded price, the 71.95s, the most traded price of the week. You really would like to clear that, right? And then what you would like to see is a retest of that 71.94s, and then just ride that short. You want to take some off at the 71.60s? Be my guest, the most traded price of the last 2 months and of yesterday. And then we head for bounce lows around the 71.30s, 71.31s. Now, do we fall apart? I don't know. Apple reports after the close. Okay. Not sure if we can break that balance. It's kind of all I'm interested in there. Now, the only thing I would say is you want to be conservative. You wait for. So this is like a little aggressive, the first scenario. Now, the second one, I would say wait for a break of the 71.94s and a retest of the 71.94s, and then you can short and have the same targets. 71.60s, 71.30s. Okay? Longs. Now, here we go. So how would I want to be long and see if there's going to be a breakout? There's heavy supply here. So I don't like going long in supply. You're asking for problems. So what I would like to see here is if we could break up here and then build some volume out here to then have a pullback where, right? Gap fill maybe, 71.95s, get some love, retest it, retest that 71.94s. Now you can break that and go up to all-time highs, hit the 7223s, and see if you can, how much higher you can go. Now this has to be a strong market. It can't be weak, and I'd be very cautious with it, but this could be the breakout. Okay. Now that's probably all I would like, unless the market does what I says and it just starts to rip lower, boom, boom, and you take out this low. And what happens is we got Apple earnings after the close, the market recovers back into range, you get that higher low, and you go long targeting 71.60s and see on if you can get any more higher. Okay? Balance is balance, and you have to use balance rules. Okay? That's the yes. NASDAQ members, relatively stronger. NASDAQ is relatively stronger. Look, you can see it here. Okay? Look at right now, currently, we made all-time highs in the overnights, right? We are really at the balance area highs. Here's the balance area lows. And we're gapping up pretty nicely. So let's get into the scenarios here in the NASDAQ, long and short trade scenarios. Okay. Now let's break out the session. Another bullish engulfing session. All right. 30-minute bars here. So semis are up 1.19%. Discretionary is up 1%. That's your Tesla and your Amazon, Home Depot. All signs, two pretty heavyweight sectors, right? Healthcare is also up because Eli Lilly. Technology is up. So that even is good for the ES as well. It's just that this seems like it wants higher. Okay, I'm not going to step in front of it. Okay, so what are we going to mark off? Well, gap fill, 7274 11s. That happens to line up with the most traded price of the week, the 274s. Okay, the midpoint of the overnights is 27356s, so in the same area. So what am I going to look for in these scenarios? Well, if I want to pick a side to be on, probably be on the long side for NASDAQ. Okay, so I'm going to start with that. So what would I like to see? Right here. Okay, what could happen is this. Push up into supply. Rip down. Fill the gap. And the 274s, the most traded price of the rolling week. Also, below that, it's the midpoint of the overnights, right? If you bounce, retest the 274s, that's a long target, overnight highs, all-time highs, 27623s, and see how high you can go. Okay? See how high you can go. Now, the only other long, okay, that I would like, it has to be quick. You take out all this mess, right? Somewhere down here, we touch the 270s. And now, if we come down here, it has to be super quick. If we malaise down there, I'd be like, all right, market's too weak. I'm not sure if I want to pick a bottom. But if you get some love and a higher low, I would be long, targeting probably the 27. What did I say? 274s. I don't think this is my favorite, but this is more my style. Okay, the first scenario. Now, as far as shorts go, you do have a sneaky short here. Okay, you do have a supply right here. We haven't touched it yet. Okay, we took out the inefficiency already. So what I could see happening, and this is like it'd be tricky. It's probably going to be quick. What I could see is you push up, and one or two things happen. You fail in supply, put that lower high, and then you get a chance to take this move out, and you go right to that gap fill. 274.11s, 274 is the most traded price of the week. That's a trade in itself. Now, if you break under the 274's retest, I would think you would start to make your way down to the 270s. That's just balance rules. Okay? Now, what also can happen? You could also sweep the overnight highs, make new real-time trading hours all-time highs, come back into range, give yourself that lower high, target 274s, and see if you can get the move back to balance lows. Okay? Now, very conservative would be wait till the market breaks on the 274s, retest 274s to short. Okay? That is my analysis, folks. Now, overall markets. Here's my outlook. Okay. ES is in a nice balanced area. Okay. 72.11s or so are the balance area highs. 71.30s are the balance area lows. We are at the upper portion of that. Okay. This market hasn't really been able to break out. Now, does the market open and tech becomes weak? I don't know. If it does, I am leaning short and try to go down to balance area lows. Okay? To me, any kind of breakout would have to take out this supply, overhead supply, take it out, build some volume, and then give me a pullback to buy it to maybe give me confirmation that, all right, the strength's here, we might break out. Okay? Now, in the NASDAQ, we know we're relatively stronger because of semis. Okay? And you just want to see acceptance above 274. Okay? If you find acceptance there, we're probably going higher. All right? Now, we are in a kind of a little bit of a bounce area as well there. It's just more a kind of slight trend upwards than the ES is. ES is sideways more. Okay? So let's see what happens today. There's been a lot of divergences in our markets every day. And it's earnings, right? With the big boys that reported yesterday. We got one more big boy. Today is Apple. Okay? So that's my outlook on the market. We have Chicago PMI at 945. All right? I don't know if the Trump interview, what that's going to be like at 11 a.m. All right? Now, smash the like button if you enjoyed that analysis. Help out my channel. Okay? And as always, please come join me every morning. Subscribe, set that alert. Give you the market story, the economic calendar, the market news, the leader and the laggards, technical analysis, and I gave you the long and short trade scenarios in the ES and the NASDAQ futures. Okay? Now, hopefully, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Okay? Now, if you want more in-depth coverage, you are going to join my Discord, Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. Today I should be going live around 9:45 a.m. Please come join. Ask me questions. I will not steer you wrong. Trust me. If there's one thing I have pride in, it is my technical analysis, and it's not just support, resist. That's garbage. It's more in depth. Okay, it's more in depth. What's actually going on under the hood? What generally the market does in this environment? Trust me. Just come join. Right? You get the free indicators, the weekly expected move, the gamma flip points. Just come join. Okay. Now, if I don't see you in there, right, I'll see you guys tomorrow morning on the stream. Okay. Now we have our plans. Remember, no trade's a trade. Hope everybody has a green day. Remember, stick to your process. If you have a process, stick to it. If you don't have a process, get a process. Nobody survives without a process. And you're a risk manager. Okay? It's the only thing in trading we could control is where we enter and the risk we put on. Other than that, you don't have any control. Okay? So, hope to see you in my Discord. If not, tomorrow morning.